Welcome to a special edition of Glenn Rolfe's Horror Shop. It's not a real edition of Glenn Rolfe's Horror Shop because I stopped doing that because I don't have time. But late at night when you're all alone, but think again because you're not alone. All right, that's the theme song, right? I thought I'd do something fun. I don't usually do book reviews, video book reviews, just because it's, I'm more comfortable writing than jibber-jabbering about it in front of people. But making an exception for this one, this is from author Janine Pipe. I don't know if this is going to be backwards or frontwards for you guys, but this is the book here, Tainted Tales. It's got 17 short stories, I believe. Janine asked me to write the foreword for this, and I did. And when I did that, I was just going to write something personal because me and Janine have know each other. But then she started sending me some of the stories to read if I had time, and so I read a couple that she sent to me, and then she sent me the whole collection. And so I read the ones that she sent to me individually at first, and then I got caught up doing something else. And then this one, the book came through, and I decided, well, I'm going to check out a few more because I really liked the ones I read. And I figured I'd read select a few, read them, and then write the foreword, having some of the stories mentioned in there. What happened is I started reading this book, in case you didn't remember, Tainted Tales by Janine Pipe. I started reading it, and the first two stories knocked me out. I was like, holy shit, Janine. I thought and hoped that she had the skills there, I didn't realize it was going to be so good, and I couldn't stop reading the stories. Oh, sorry, I just saw that I have this mask. I'm at work, by the way, trying to get this video in for it, because Janine actually messaged me this morning and asked me if I had a favorite in the book, and I didn't want to answer because I wanted to do this video until I could tell you about my few favorites of the bunch. So it's 17 stories. You've got each story. It's really interesting. Each story has, she opens it up with this narrator. I think it was Jill or maybe something like that. But it's kind of like these little introductions for the stories, kind of like you're watching an anthology or something, like you're watching Tales from the Crypt and Crypt Keeper's telling you what you're about to see or whatever. Or Twilight Zone, I think, does the same thing, right? And at first I was like, what is this? Who does this? And it totally worked. I was anticipating it each time. As the stories went along, I got right into it. And it felt like that Tales from the Crypt type thing for me, which I enjoyed. And then there's story notes afterwards. And I love story notes. I love knowing what inspired someone to write. And Janine's completely transparent with it. She tells you exactly where everything came from. Some of us want to keep some of the magic behind the curtain a little bit, but I like both. I like when someone gives you an idea and lets you come up with what it's about. But I also love when people share this much information with you. This open and honest. And then especially you see it in the story, And sometimes it's cool if you read a story and you didn't really get it, but then you read the notes and you go, oh, yeah. And maybe you read it again. I didn't have to read any of these again. I think I got most of these. Her style is something I dig. And a lot of pop culture references. Anyone knows my writing, if you love my stuff, you have to read Janine's book when this hits the streets. I think she's putting it out this summer. Anyways, I wrote the foreword. I meant every word I gave her on it. And I know that she dug that. Sorry, I'm at work. I'm watching my monitor to make sure I'm not needed. All right, so I'll get into the stories a little bit here. Let's do this. So the first story, Footsteps, is going out in the woods, and there's a werewolf. I believe that one had the werewolf in it. This one is nominated for a Splatterpunk Award this year, which is amazing. and I hope she wins. And she's probably got some stiff competition. I didn't see who the competition is, but it's Splatterpunk right now is coming back big time. So, and it's so cool that Janine's already got her foot in that door. But yeah, this story deserves some attention. I dug it. Next story was when doves cry, and I'll tell you what right now, that it just blew me away. Like, it's completely different from the stuff that I've read from her. The few short stories she sent me before, which I put out in Alien Agenda Publishing's sampler, which are more splatterpunky, straight up horror. This one's more gothic, and I loved everything about it. It reminded me of Catherine Cavendish, who I consider to be one of the best gothic writers in the horror realm right now. And it reminded me a lot of her work. So for it to be right up there with Catherine's work, and this being one of her first stories, I read the notes, and it's one of her first stories. Just amazing. And what happens in the story too, I loved that story. Want to Break Free features 2 points of view from, I don't want to give anything away, but it's 2 points of views, and that one was fun too. I really liked that. Wasn't quite sure where it was going at the beginning, and I like getting that, like, not knowing what's going to happen. Then Man Eater is the next one. I really dug that one. Janine's a former cop, and there's a cop in this story, and there's a vampire in this story. And I love where it went and love how it went down. Again, a little unexpected, and I totally dug it. Next is Addicted to Love. Basically, the story sums it up with the line, Kenzie liked to fuck and she liked to kill. And I loved it. I loved every second of that story, too. What else? Sweet Child of Mine. Obviously, it's got the best title of all the book. All right, so yeah, Sweet Child of Mine. This was a really cool one, too. Another subtle, quiet horror. What do they call it? Yeah, something like that. Whatever. It's really good, too. And that was another one that, just shows some variety in the stories, which you love, which you should love. You don't want every story being the same. Otherwise, especially with 17 stories, you've got to have variety in there. And she did a great job of putting that in here. So we got Sweet Child of Mine, which is, I don't want to give anything away. That one's pretty short, so I'm not going to say too much. Tainted Love is the next one. Vampires. More vampire stuff. That one got a little sexual in that one, too. I think Janine's got some sexual stuff happening here in these stories. Pretty cheeky, pretty naughty. All right, anyways, moving on. Lost in the Shadows. This one was a lot of fun. This is one of the most fun stories in the book. It's got Hunter in there, one of our buddies, Hunter Shea, and some disappearing kids, and it was a blast. It's a Sin is the next one. I loved this one too. I loved where this one went, and how she presented it and how it ended. I thought it was fantastic. Love is a Battlefield is a Hunger Games Running Man type of deal. I liked stories like that, and that one was cool. Running with the Devil. This one was I'm trying to think. It's like her dad told her a ghost story, and then they go out to as teenagers. They end up, the girl, which is I think Janine, ends up going out to the spot where this ghost story took place, where this carriage went off the road, or carriage I think it was, went off the road and into a lake or something. That one was a lot of fun, and it was split up too. There was went through a couple of years, and then it went back and told you the original story, which was kind of a cool thing too that I wasn't expecting, and that was enjoyable as well. Paradise City. Oh boy. I have something to tell you guys about this one. This one has to do with a hole in a tree and some boys, teenage boys. Now, this story made me think, when I was growing up, We had the woods right beside my trailer park, and there was one kid in my trailer park that was, if you've seen, and I think she even named a kid Richie in the story and mentioned it. In the movie, and I'm sure in the book as well, because I've only read the first 400 pages of it, because it's so big. In the movies, in the new movies, especially, Richie's really, he's talking about his dick and fuck your sister and whatever. He's really mouthy and not afraid to say anything sexual. He gets a kick out of it or something, right? I had a friend like that who lived in the trailer park. I remember he told my sister, my older sister, he told her that his dick was so long that he had to roll it up and put it in his sock or something. And it was rolled up at the bottom of his pant leg in his sock or something ridiculous. Anyways, we used to have a bunch of porno mags out in the woods. And I remember one day when I thought he was the craziest, he took the centerfold, put it up, pinned it to the tree, and then took his dick out and was humping the centerfold. I mean, I think he didn't jizz or anything. He didn't blow his load, but this story just brought that guy back in my brain. I said, of course, and if there was a hole that you could screw, many a teenage boy would be out there sticking his dick in there. I don't know. The end of this is pretty awesome too. So it's such a crazy story, but I loved it. School's Out Forever. That was a really cool story, and it's based off something real. And it's kids going into an abandoned building. And I always love those kinds of stories. So there's that one. Living on a Prayer. That was a cool one. It's pretty short. I don't want to give that away. But I enjoyed that one. I got to make sure I get this title right. Bones of Boarded Up Baby Bodies. Bones of Boarded Up Baby Bodies Behind the Bath Panel. Such a crazy title. That one's for best title in the book, even though Sweet Child of Mine and Paradise City are on this list. That one, which I'm not going to say again because it's hard to say for me. It was another, I think that was another going into an abandoned place. So another similar theme in that one, and that one was fun. And like I said, the title, number one title in the book. Nobody's Fool. As soon as I read the name Axel in there, I was like, I know where this came from. And that was cool, and I can't wait to tell. My son's name is Axel. I can't wait to tell him he's in the story. I don't know if I'll tell him about the story, but I'll tell him he's in the story. And he's going to think he's awesome because he already thinks he's awesome or knows he's awesome. And that was a cool story, too. I really liked messing with dreams and apocalyptic stuff. At the end, it was really cool. And then the last story in the anthology is They, which I obviously loved because I put it in my Alien Agenda Publishing sampler, which you can still get for 99 cents always. It'll always be 99 cents. We're not trying to make money. We're just trying to get some names out there and some good newer authors, some established guys like Brian Smith's in there, Tim Meyer's in there, Janine's in there, Joshua Marcella, and a couple other writers as well. But yeah, so overall, this collection was 5 stars. Is that what Janine used to do? Overall, 5 stars. It was brilliant. Really was. And I'll tell you what, it's hard. I remember when I put out my first book, I really admired an author that had made it to Leisure Books from my area. His name's Nate Kenyon. If you haven't read any of his books, go find him. He's awesome. Nate Kenyon. I read a bunch of his stuff, and I loved it. And then to find out he was from the town over from where I'm from. We grew up in the same area, pretty much. I met him at a convention when I was just one of my first or second convention I went to, and talked to him, and we were talking about Western Avenue in Augusta. I was like, that's like a main drag up here. Like, it was so cool. And he was so it was just like we were buddies, because we just had this stuff in common already. But he didn't have any idea who the hell I was, but he still talked to me and gave me the time, and it was cool. When I put Blood and Rain out, I approached him about reading it for a blurb for the book. And he told me right up front, hey, if I'll read it. And if I like it, I'll blurb it. But if you want me to read it, I want to tell you what I think, regardless whether I think it's, if it's bad and I don't like it, I'm going to tell you. If you're prepared for that and you're willing to do that, send it over. And so, of course, I sent it over because you have to send it over. And I was so afraid of in the weeks that it took for him to get back to me, that the email, I was like, oh my God, like, doing one of these, like, is he going to think it's terrible? Is he going to tell me I can't blurb this? It's, good luck with your career or whatever. He loved it and whatever. And that blew me away. I couldn't believe it. I was so excited. So for someone like Janine, who I know is a big fan of my work, for her to give this over to me and have this anticipation of, I know she's probably doing the same thing, but I pretty much told everyone beforehand, once I started reading the stories, oh man, I love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. So she's got a little bit of, at least she's got a little bit of that. But still, as the author, I always think like Nate did. If I'm going to be honest, and sometimes you get in a situation where you're just like, oh God, I hope it's good. I hope it's good. I don't want it to like be, that could happen. That could have happened here, but it didn't. And I was blown away, and I'm so pumped that it's so good, because I wouldn't bullshit, but I would have to tell her, but no, trust me, this is awesome. If you dig my stuff at all, you have to get this. This is like all the stuff I love, Janine seems to love. So it's like two peas in a pod. Definitely don't miss this. I'm sure it's going to do awesome, because Janine's great. She's in this community. She's been reviewing and spreading the gospel of horror, and indie horror especially. And who doesn't love Janine? If you don't, there's something wrong with you, I think. You should just get out of the business. Anyways, so for any of you guys watching this, 5 stars. You have to get it when it comes out. Pre-order it as soon as she gets the pre-order up. Get a print copy. Buy signed copies off her. Whatever. Support this book. Support this lady. She's awesome. 5 stars all the way. I'm going to post up a Goodreads review here in a few minutes. Oh, the foreword's pretty good in it too, by the way. The guy that wrote the foreword's pretty good. Anyways, Janine, I know you're going to watch this. Hope it wasn't too hard for you. I hope you loved it. Everyone else, get this book. Get this book. All right. Peace out.